Disclaimer. What if Deku had crackers devil fruit? Hey guys, this is Sinister Kato back again with another video. So let's get right into the intro.
Raindrops, drop top, smoking on cook in the hot box, fucking on your bitch, you thought.
So last video, I did a poll where you guys could choose which what if I should do next. The options were Big Mom's devil fruit or crackers devil fruit, and almost all of you chose crackers. And I wrote a few scripts, but couldn't decide which one to choose. But after reading them, I just picked this one. Hope you will enjoy. So without further ado, let's get into the story. Deku was born fragile and weak. He often dreamt about getting a quirk and be a great guy like his favorite hero, All Might. Unfortunately, all of his dreams were shattered after he heard these 3 words: "You are quirkless." These words broke him apart, and even after being torn apart, he asked his mother, while pointing at his computer, that if he could still be a great hero like All Might even without a quirk. His mother held him as both of them cried about it. Days later, everyone in Deku's kindergarten class heard the news and made fun of him, mostly his best friend Bakugo. His friends mocked him for being quirkless and weak. They even neglected him due to being embarrassed by being friends with him. As the boy grew up, he faced many challenges such as being bullied and tortured. One day, after school, he was attacked by a bunch of his older classmates and took his money. Deku ran away crying and went to a nearby forest. He was planning on disappearing from the public and live his life somewhere else safer for him. As he walked around, a hooded stranger approaches him and asked for his name. Deku seemed to trust the stranger and told him his name. Hours went by and the two got along pretty well. Both of them exchanged some words of wisdom until Deku told his plans on leaving behind his life that he has right now. The stranger then asked Deku why he was thinking this at such a young age, and Deku told the stranger everything that has happened to him and the reason why he wants to leave his position. The stranger asked Deku for what he would like to be when he grows up. Deku then smiled and said, "I want to be a hero that makes everyone feel safe and put smiles on their faces." The stranger then smiled at Deku and gave him a peculiar fruit. It was shaped like a biscuit and had swirls around it. The stranger then told Deku to use the fruit wisely and follow on whatever he believes in. The stranger then walked away and disappeared in thin air. Deku couldn't believe his eyes. Was he hallucinating the whole time? Well, the fruit looked and felt real. Deku then took a huge bite. He then gasped for air because the fruit tasted disgusting, but he still ate the whole fruit and went home. Deku then arrived home and went to sleep, trying to avoid his mother. When he woke up, he saw his room was literally trashed with biscuits and ants around him. He then panicked and ran toward his mother. His mother asked him on what happened. Deku then told her that his room was suddenly trashed and he doesn't know what happened. His mother then told him that she will clean it later when he goes to school. Deku then moaned and asked his mother if he could skip it. The mother then knew why Deku wanted to skip school, so she allowed him to do so. Deku then got happy and started to clap. As he clapped, biscuits started to appear in thin air. This shocked the mother and son, but mostly the mother. They both looked at each other and just wondered what just happened. Deku then clapped again, and more biscuits started to appear. Ainko then started to get excited and hugged Deku, then said, "Honey, you're not quirkless after all." Hearing these words gave Deku hopes again. The two never went to the quirk doctor and decided to keep this as a secret, and also for Deku to fully understand how to use his newly found powers. He then asked his mother some questions like, "Can I be a hero? Will I be as great as All Might?" Ainko then smiled and told Deku that he could be anything he wants. Deku then said he wanted to be a biscuit. Just kidding, hehehe. As the years passed, Deku's personality started to change like stains. He thinks that most heroes are basically fake and just are in it for the money and fame. Deku thought to himself that people started to respect him because of his so-called newly found powers. He decided to go and be lonely and to get things done on his own. He also got into baking, and to make his biscuits taste good and even made them harder to a point that you need to use metal bats to break it. He did this to use it to defend his body. Just like Cracker in One Piece, he made an armor that was shaped like a person. It was hollow but hard. Reason to this was that he could hide inside, since he doesn't like pain. The armor was more bigger than him, and it looked like a fearless warrior, basically All Might. People noticed this as he grew, but he manipulated them to thinking it was just his quirk that makes him big. So let's jump to the present. 7 years later, Deku has worked out how to use his quirk, to such as being able to make puppets and control them like he wants. So ever since he trained his quirk, no one really saw his face ever again. Bakugo even tried to reconnect with him to become best friends again, and was very envious of him too when he found out the truth. Now we go to the beginning of the story. An old balding man walked inside the classroom full of students. Everything went silent and everyone was focused on him. The man then started talking and told the students about how well they did at their end of year exam. But he then smiled and threw the papers in the air and everyone activated their quirks. The teacher then told everyone to settle down due to the rules that they aren't allowed to use their quirks at school. As the class quieted down, Bakugo stood up and told the teacher to not compare him to bunch of weaklings since he will be attending UA. The teacher then laughed at Bakugo's antics and said that he did get one of the highest mark for his class. The students then started to argue with him and said that he was a spoiled brat. The teacher then told everyone to quiet down and talked about Deku also wanting to attend UA. The whole class gasped and started saying that he'll definitely be accepted due to his size and power. If you guys don't remember, I said earlier that Deku manipulated everyone to thinking that Deku's quirk made him bigger and stronger. Bakugo then laughed and said, well, if you will actually know the truth about his quirk then you will be speechless. Deku then looked at him and said, you're one cocky boy. Too bad that a great quirk like yours went to waste. Bakugo then got angry and shouted, what was that, punk? You want to take this outside? Deku then laughed and told Bakugo that there is no reason to fight right now, but after school they will. The teachers then told them to quiet down and the class continued as it was. Meanwhile Bakugo was planning on how to take down Deku. As the school day ended, Bakugo and his friends followed Deku home. Deku did notice this, but played along with them, so he went to a nearby alleyway. Then he turned around and told Bakugo to do his best not to cry. Bakugo then laughed and ran towards Deku, giving him an explosion to the face. Deku's armor cracked a little bit and he smiled at it. Bakugo then said that there was more where the attack came from. He then proceeded to start flying around the alleyway and throwing explosions at Deku's armor. Then suddenly, Deku's head broke. Bakugo's friends couldn't believe what just happened and ran away thinking that they actually killed someone. Bakugo then told them that this was Deku's actual quirk, Biscuit. You bunch of cowards. Don't run and check this, it's what Deku actually looked like. Bakugo yelled. His friends then looked at Deku and saw a tall skinny dude. They then started to get curious. Bakugo then explained everything. His quirk is that he can make an armor that he hides in. Too bad that he has been exposed to us. Quickly attack him while he's down. Don't let him make another one. The two boys then ran towards Deku, activating their quirks and ready to hit him. Deku then looked at them with a terrifying look and smiled. Guess you have to die to forget what my face looks like. Good job on breaking my armor, Kachan. Deku laughed. He then started clapping, and the armor started to crumble and turned into dust. Deku then told Bakugo, if you really wanted to know my actual quirk, then you need a good presentation. The armor turned into a giant block of biscuit and Deku could manipulate it freely. He then used it to crush one of Bakugo's men, while the other ran away. Bakugo then told Deku that he wasn't afraid of anything and was ready to fight head on. Deku then hit Bakugo with a biscuit and crushed him with it, knocking him out unconscious. Deku then clapped again while laughing The giant biscuit then started to break and formed his armor again. Deku then looked at Bakugo and smirked. You call yourself a hero, but you're nothing but a delusional obnoxious brat. Then he walked away. Now for the Sludge villain. You guys might think this will be a stupid move, but All Might did capture the Sludge villain, but he dropped it like in canon. But it wasn't Deku's fault this time. It's because he was going too fast. So now, the bottle of sludge then dropped in the alleyway where Deku was just in, and it rolls over to Bakugo's unconscious body. The villain then managed to get out of the bottle and saw Bakugo laying on the ground. The villain then smiled and said that he found some fresh meat to use. Bakugo then woke up, seeing a guy trying to abduct him. As Bakugo panicked, the more successful the villain was in taking over him. Then the villain started using Bakugo's explosion. The villain was in control of him, but Bakugo then used his quirk to make a loud explosion, catching the attentions of everyone. Pro heroes arrived on the scene, but they couldn't do anything. They had to protect the citizens and try not to hurt Bakugo during the process. Meanwhile, all that was happening, Deku bumped into Skinny Might. He apologized, but All Might quickly asked him if he has seen a bottle with green fluid inside. Sorry sir, I didn't see you there. Deku apologized. All Might replied, it's all good. But have you seen a bottle that had green fluid in it? I desperately need to find it. Deku then smiled and told All Might, don't worry, I will help you find it. As Deku said this, a big explosion occurs near them. Deku thought that it was Bakugo and just shrugged it off, but All Might's facial expression changed to worry to horror. He thought that the villain has managed to escape and took someone captive. Hey big guy, what's your quirk? We need to go to that explosion real quick. All Might said. The thing I've been looking for is probably there. Deku then laughed. It's alright. It's probably my friend, but to be sure let's check it out. Deku then clapped and made a large biscuit, big enough for both him and All Might to fit in. The biscuit was floating and acted like a flying carpet. Get in before we are too late. Deku smiled. All Might then got in, and they both arrived at the scene. When they both landed, they saw Bakugo badly beaten with the sludge villain. All Might then started panic. Is that what you were looking for, old man? Deku asked. It's too late. I've reached my limit. I can't help that poor guy. I hope some other pro hero take care of this. All Might silently said with a sad face. Deku saw this and told All Might to not worry. Don't worry old man. I'll take care of this since it's partly my fault. Deku then got on his flying biscuit and flew over next the pro heroes. As he levitates above them, he overhears that the best they could do is wait until more pro heroes arrive to take over everything. Angered and frustrated by what they said, Deku looked at Bakugo and saw in his eyes that he was asking for help. Deku then suddenly flew over to the sludge villain. The pro heroes started shouting and telling him that what he is doing is dangerous. Deku didn't listen and just did his own thing. He got off his flying biscuit and it disappeared. He then looked the villain straight to the eye and told him to let Bakugo go. The villain then laughed and told him that he is wasting his life. Don't come near me boy, or you will die. Deku then moved preparing to attack. The villain then tried to swing at him, but Deku clapped very fast making a giant shield, protecting him and the people behind him. I guess we have to settle this the other way, Deku said. He then started clapping more, and biscuits started to appear out of nowhere and formed an army of his armor. Deku then smiled and told the villain to let Bakugo or his ass is gonna be whooped. The villain then laughed and threw Bakugo aside and said, I don't need you anymore you useless brat. I'm going to take over this fool instead. The villain then tried to take Deku, but his army then attacked him and started to crumble. The villain laughed again and told Deku that he wasted his effort. Deku then smiled and said, why don't you look up, you stupid arrogant shit. Above the villain was a giant biscuit. It was as big as the building around him. No. It was bigger than the buildings around him. Deku was secretly using his army as a bait to his original plan, making a meteor-like biscuit. As the villain looked up, Deku shouted, Almighty fall. The biscuit then falls, squashing the villain. As all of this happens, All Might was watching at the corner and smiled, thinking he just discovered someone to inherit his powers. As Deku lifted up his biscuit, the whole crowd behind him started to cheer, asking him for his name and all. Deku looked at the pro heroes behind him. They were clapping too, but mostly unimpressed. Deku picked up Bakugo, who were unconscious, from the side and walked towards the pro heroes. As he walked past by, he whispered this to them.
You might be heroes to the public, but you are nothing but fakes, risking the life of one person to create more deaths. You all are simply just nothing but fakes.
The heroes felt a shiver in their spine, and when they tried to confront Deku, he already disappeared with Bakugo. All Might sees this and follows Deku somewhere, which lead to a street near Bakugo's house. Wake up, Kachan, Deku said. Eat this biscuit and go home. He then snapped his fingers and biscuits flew towards Bakugo's mouth. Bakugo then woke up and shouted at Deku, I didn't need your help, Deku. I could have handled all of that. Your eyes were asking for help. Besides, I couldn't help it. My instinct just kicked in that you were in trouble. Deku replied. Bakugo then said that this will be the last time Deku save him. Bakugo then wiped his nose and said that in 10 months, he would be stronger than him and make him acknowledge his strength more. Both boys parted ways and went home. On his way home, All Might landed in front of Deku and shouted, never fear because I'm here. He then deflated, but still congratulated Deku and praised him for what a hero he was, and not like the others who were fake and just in it for the money and fame. Deku then smiled. All Might later proceeded to tell him about being the vessel for One for All. Deku asked what it was. All Might explained it to Deku loud and clear. One for All was a quirk passed down to generations of great heroes to protect the world from evil villains. And you, young Midoriya, shall be the next inheritor. All Might said. Worthy to inherit your powers? Asked Deku. All Might replied, yes. My quirk is One for All, and it was passed down to me by generations to great heroes, like it was a sacred torch, and now I want you to be the next hero of peace. And since your body is perfect, I don't have to train you roadworks, just need to teach you all the basics and its history. But as All Might say this, Deku began to clap, and his armor started to crumble apart, showing a tall, fragile green-haired boy. All Might began to gasp and couldn't believe his eyes. Deku then told him that this is what he actually looked like, and that he was hiding behind his armor as an escape from being bullied and harassed. All Might then hugged Deku and told him that everything would be okay. All Might said that he was fine with whatever Deku looked like and help him become to be the next symbol of peace. Hey guys, I would like to say thank you for watching my videos, and I hope you like them. If you do, please leave a like and share the videos to your friends. Also, if you want to support me, please subscribe and comment some ideas to help me create my story better. As always, have a great day and love yourself.